Okay, great. At this time, I'd like to call to order the meeting, the City Operations Committee meeting for April 11th, 2022. The time is 5:03 p.m. and I'll start with attendance. I'm present. Councilor Gibbs.
I am present.
Councilor Moore.
Here.
Mayor Rosenquist. We also have Dean here with us. First, I will take a motion to approve the minutes of the March 14th, 2022 City Operations Committee.
Motion.
I have a motion, Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. So approved. Next, we'll move on to items 2, city clerk and community events. Starting off with item 2.1, a discussion, city clerk monthly report.
That was provided to council digitally in the folder. Again, it's a pretty standard, straightforward monthly report. I don't see the year-to-date numbers on here, so I'll make sure that those get added for the next report so that we can kind of track the totals.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 2.2, we have a draft resolution to authorize the implementation of the social media policy. So I'll take a motion to move that forward. Motion from the mayor, second by Councilor Gibbs. What discussion?
This is a policy, a use policy for the city of Plattsburgh for social media. Courtney has been working on this policy along with Dean. It's a pretty, I don't know if you want to call it a pretty standard policy for social media usage, but it does outline community guidelines, city of Plattsburgh usage of the platforms that we have, as well as community guideline, an outline of community guidelines for expected usage from community members as well. As you probably recall, earlier this year, we also had a conversation for social media retention, data retention as required. That does require us to retain information, but this kind of goes part and parcel with the amount of social media outreach that we've been doing and kind of getting this to a standardized for the city so that we have all of our bases covered.
Absolutely. I think that in this day and age, this is an absolutely necessary thing to have. So Courtney, thank you very much for your work on this,
Courtney,
Dean,
thank
as
you.
well. You know, both you guys for putting this together. I read through it. Like you said, it seemed pretty standard. It seemed like it hit all the necessary points. There wasn't anything that left out to me as missing. So thank you for the work. Any further discussion from anybody on this? All right. So I'll go ahead and take roll call. Councilor Gibbs?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Councilor Moore?
Yes.
Mayor Rosenquist?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move that forward. Next, item 2.3, the draft resolution for authorization of alcohol consumption on city property for the Cvph fundraiser.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion by Mayor Rosenquist and a second by Councilor Gibbs. Do we have any discussion on this?
As required, the council needs to approve consumption of alcohol for events in the city of Plattsburgh. If you recall last year, sorry, the Cvph had their annual event scheduled for the Oval. That was canceled. So this year they're relaunching their event and are asking that they are allowed to serve alcohol at the event.
Where's it gonna be held this year?
It's at the Oval.
We went back there.
Yeah, which is nice. I think it's nice to use that gazebo.
Absolutely. Nice to see things coming back. So hopefully it does well. Any further discussion? All right, so I'll move to roll call. Councilor Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilor Bob, yes. Councilor Moore?
Yes.
And Mayor Rosenquist?
Yes.
All right, we'll move that forward. Next, we've got the draft 2.4 draft resolution to authorize award of fireworks contract for city events. Discussion.
Motion.
I've got, motion by Councilor Gibbs, second.
Second.
Councilor Moore, discussion.
Yeah, this year we took a bit of a different tact to identifying a fireworks provider. We sent out a request for proposals, which included a number of fireworks events for the city of Plattsburgh in partnership with the other organizers who also host fireworks events in the city. Just if we can kind of bundle it, group that pricing together. We had two respondents, and we are asking the council to authorize this contract with Santori's. Part of the contract will be paid for by the city of Plattsburgh, and then the other part will be paid for by the 1814 commemoration.
All right, great.
What's the split on that, the financial split?
16,000 to the city of Plattsburgh, 6,000 to the battle.
And is that already budgeted or is that coming out of a fund?
That is budgeted already out of events that we allocated, I think, $45,000 to $50,000 this year for events.
All right, great. Any further discussion? All right, we'll move to roll call. Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Bop, yes. Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Mayor Rosenquist?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move that forward. And then we've got 2.5, draft resolution to authorize community engagement coordinator to attend Nikon Community Revitalization Conference.
Motion?
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second by Mayor Rosenquist. Discussion.
This is a request to allow, and I extended the invitation to both Courtney and Matt Miller to attend this portion of the Nikon conference for community revitalization, which identifies a number of community-related events, community improvement tracks as well. This is not a normally, I think the downstairs would have access to attend an event, the clerk would have access to attend a conference. I don't believe that the community engagement coordinator or CDO has ever taken advantage of attending some of these conferences. But as I discussed in the past, I think these are beneficial opportunities for the city of Plattsburgh to grow and learn from experts and other community members. In addition to the invitation for a community engagement coordinator and members of CDO to attend, there is monies budgeted for community or for counselors to also attend some of these conferences if they so wish.
I think it's a great idea. I know Courtney and I have talked a lot about like ways to engage the community, ways to like revitalize downtown. And I think especially in light of two things. One, in light of the pandemic and trying to come back from that and get people to re-engage. We've got that one element. And then we also have, of course, all this downtown work that's going to be happening. That's going to be a lot of upheaval. So we want to have ideas to still keep things vital. So I mean, I think it sounds like a really great idea. Any further discussion? All right, roll call. Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Bott, yes. Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Mayor Rosenquist?
Yes.
All right, and we will move that forward to the council.
Guess we should have combined those two.
Right.
Yeah, we could.
So 2.6 is just a discussion item, vendor fee recommendations.
Sorry, 3.1. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so just vendor fee recommendations. Do we have, what was that about?
That's a discussion. Courtney, you can take this one on. Courtney, I'm talking like it's almost like Courtney is talking for me. We have had so many conversations about these items, right? So I don't want to steal Courtney's thunder. Again, this is a lot of the work that I relate to the council. It has been done by Courtney. But this is work that Courtney did to pretty much compare a weekly vendor fee compared to all the other vendor fees that we charge. For example, if you were to have seating outside for the duration of restaurant seating outside for the duration of the season, it would be something like $11 a week for seating outside. If you were a food truck, it would be something like $27 a week, $24 a week to be a food truck. For vendors, it's $60 a week. Now we're talking about the people who they do the one-offs, they're working at home as artisans, or they're making jewelry, they're painting, and they're trying to sell their art during the season. And rather than asking them to pay a pretty hefty fee for trying to sell their art, we're going to come back with a proposal to ask the council to adjust that vendor fee downwards. Because, you know, anybody here, you've been to the Strand event, you've been to the farmer's market, you've been downtown when we have events, and these folks have to pay fees, which, you know, I think it'd be fair if we're going to promote art and culture in the community to not outprice these folks who probably barely make $60 in profit on their artwork. So.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, you know, between the cost of like setting up travel and everything like that, and then at these events, you know, sometimes people are just out to see and
Yes.
look. So, you know, I think it would be very fair to, especially for the artists that are trying to do this. To try
You
bring
want
it
to
down.
add, anything to that?
No, I think it's trying to just equalize it amongst the vendor fees that we pay in other sectors. And I think in my experience, I haven't seen many folks take advantage of the vendor fee maybe because of the barriers to entry due to costs. And so I want to just propose reassessing it and maybe lowering it to be competitive at what other markets would charge for a similar circumstance for having a table at an event. Whether we decide that it becomes a daily, like a one-day fee or a weekly fee, I can propose some different models to that, but wanted to just start the conversation to make it more easy for our vendor and artisan community to vend on city property in our parks during events and those types of things.
Is that gonna include food vendors, like those food trucks? Or
No,
is,
The food
because
trucks-
I thought that was a little high I was looking at those over again,
Yeah.
and I guess if I had a truck, I can't imagine they make that much money. I know they seem to have disappeared from the city, more or less. I don't know if it's because of the price.
No, we've
or-
had, I don't know how many food trucks we had last year, but we had a significant amount of food trucks last year. And I don't, in our experience, I don't think we had a lot of people complaining about the price so much that there weren't enough events happening. But then there's also a reminder that we were just coming back from COVID too, so.
You said it was 24 a week for food trucks?
Yeah, and that's not actually a permit that is available for food trucks. You can have an annual pass, a season's pass, or a monthly pass, but in order to make a fair comparison, I just divided the price of a monthly by 4 just to get an understanding. So we don't actually offer a weekly food truck fee, and I'm not proposing that we necessarily move that way. Most of our vendors, we see get a seasonal pass, so that's a 6-month consecutive pass, because the high time would be the spring,
Yeah.
summer, fall season. So the food folks who are selling either via a food truck or just selling food would access a different fee, different permit than the ones selling non-food items. So like artisans or really just our popular artisans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned like some of these consolidation ideas, maybe 2 for the artists. It could be things like, if you're going to participate in one event, it's one thing, but if you want to participate, if you're like, okay, I know I'm going to do these 4, they can get, all at once, like you said, kind of looking at passes, things like that. But
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it will encourage more people to participate, especially younger people, maybe starting out, that don't feel established and
Yeah.
want to take a plunge.
I think we're seeing a movement in our community of really trying to support the artist and artisan community, and we're seeing a lot of those events happening in different spaces, and I feel like in a way, making sure that our rates are still competitive so that people want to work with the city in that capacity is important.
Right, and especially some of these artisans have stuff set up all the time now. They've got like a permanent booth at like the Workbench Collective or at Old Soul.
Yeah.
So to convince them to also want to come out and participate on a Sunday when they're open 5 days a week or 6 days a week, I think that's another great point to consider. So thank you for your consideration on this, definitely. Anything further on this item?
I think we'll come back with a proposal to the council and I don't know if there's a resolution to come before the council in the next couple of weeks, but just a heads up if there is as part of that continued conversation.
All right, moving on to section 3, starting with mayor and IT stuff. So 3.1, we've got a draft resolution to authorize the mayor to attend that same conference, the Nikon Community Revitalization Conference.
Motion.
Motion from Counselor Gibbs,
Second.
second from Counselor Moore. Discussion.
Pretty much the same.
Right, I think we got it covered in the other one. Any further questions about this? All right, we'll move to roll call. Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Bob, yes. Counselor Moore.
Yes,
Mayor Rosenquist.
Yeah.
All right, great. And then our last item on here, 3.2, discussion regarding the IT ticket report.
So
Got via
I
email.
consolidated, well, I've asked Carl to consolidate tickets that come to him. He has provided that report. There's some refinement to this as well. And again, a lot of these tickets don't come straight through Carl. They come to Carl. They get created in the system. They get passed off to either Carl or a member of Layer 8 that does that end user support. And then the tickets gets closed. But this is a good comprehensive list of the items that a lot of people report and how they get responded and when they get closed.
Yeah, I like that report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it too.
I think it's pretty
easy to read.
insightful.
Mhm.
Alternatively, I think that we're all aware that this is a conversation I've had with council as well as department heads regarding the increased expenses, increased IT expenses. I think Council Moore recognized this last year when we were going through budget cycle to allocate some of the additional funding, not towards staff, but towards some of these increased IT costs. But as when we first signed the SimQuest contract, the scope of work was to do end user protection through software updates and virus software protection, as well as the firewall and switch infrastructure replacements. When we got down into the weeds, as any aged IT infrastructure, we found that some of the servers were quite problematic. At that point, council approved the movement towards the cloud, including email and file storage. That is progressing well, hasn't been adopted by everybody, but as we continue on this path, I think more people will get on board with using Google Workspace for file management. But that movement to the cloud also increased some IT costs as we expected it to. So we are looking at using some of that allocated funds last year to offset some of these costs, but also looking at how do we continue to save. Part of that expenditure last year, again, was to secure data backups, which we found were failing on some of our critical systems, and we needed an emergency replacement, which came in very handy when our email crashed at the beginning of this year. We will see some of that savings realized as we move that hardware off of the internal infrastructure to the cloud. We'll see some savings with that data backup. We're likely to see some savings moving forward with some managed IT services as well, trying to consolidate some of these services across the city. We'll continue to work on this, but it is as most people can understand and appreciate, it's complex, and I wish it would be a turn the switch on, turn the switch off situation in some cases. This is just not one of them.
Any questions on that, anybody?
No.
All right, seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, public comment. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 5, new business. Any new business to come before this committee? I just want to give another shout out to Courtney. She's been working really hard on the 4th of July stuff. I've been trying to help her maybe identify some cool music acts. So we've got some stuff up our sleeves. So hopefully that'll be something for the community to look forward to. Yeah, we're gonna try to, we know it used to be a really epic event and we want to try to bring it back, so looking at that. She's got some other ideas up her sleeve for later on in the year that I think are gonna be awesome, so. All right, if there's nothing else, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Got a motion from Gibbs, second by Mayor Rosenquist. All in favor? Aye. All right, this meeting is adjourned.